Hello, welcome back to our second episode in our podcast study discussion series, whatever you want to
Thing.
call this. So
Thing.
yeah,
The thing.
yeah, the thing. Um, this weekend was the San Antonio Auto Show, and all three of us got to go.
Mhm.
I went Friday, you guys went Sunday,
Yeah.
but looked around. It was cool. It seemed a little smaller than usual.
Yeah.
I thought it seemed more bigger actually than last year.
I thought it felt smaller.
They might have spread it out a little bit. But the vendors seemed smaller, meaning like not as many vendors, because like Honda wasn't there.
No.
Honda wasn't there last year though.
I know, but they were there 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
Oh,
They did have
why
Volvo this, but
but
they had Principal, which is like their.
yeah, they had Principal Auto Group, and then so like they didn't have BMW, but Principal brought
Yeah.
like two or whatever.
Also, the BMW feature where you can like move your hand and like turn up and down the
Mhm.
volume. I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was the weirdest thing, and then I did it. I'm like, oh, I feel so cool.
You're like, this is dumb. Who would ever? Okay, no,
Yeah.
I see this.
Yeah.
I see it. So we're walking around, and they had the Bugattis. What is that group? What is that group that brought the
it was Vault. It's like a
Vault?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
call it Vault. It's like a security company. Where you can keep your cars there. They'll do detailing and all
Mhm.
kinds of stuff if you don't want to keep them at your house. So.
Yeah. So they brought out my Bugattis. No, they had two Bugattis there, and when we got there, it prompted the question of so each one of those are like $3 million at bare minimum.
Yeah.
And so we're looking at this and we're like, oh crap! So there's like $7 million just between these cars. What's the grand value of every car at the auto show? Like, what's our grand total value? What do you guys think? What were your guesses to this?
Mine was 100,000 because not
100
100 million. Sorry. Yeah, 100,000 be one car.
Yeah.
But 100 million because there's like just some of the cars they brought, just the custom cars. They're like $80,000 cars, 90. But then
Yeah.
people put another maybe 60,000 into it, and it'd be like $120,000 car, and total would be like almost $1 million worth of cars.
In a section.
Yeah, and just in that section, some of the other cars are a lot more expensive. So I just think realistically, it could be all those cars could be 100 million.
Yeah.
I said 50, but I think I'm leaning more towards like 65
Okay.
because like you got companies like Dodge, Ram, Chrysler, and all that make the big old trucks that you can buy for 100,000, 120,000
Yeah.
at like top of the line. But then
It's worse.
oh, it stopped. There we go.
Explain what's happening.
The lights are flickering and it's like a consistent flicker.
Yeah. So the studio lights flicker every so often.
Daniel's
So
failing at his job.
I had to troubleshoot. If we have it at 50% brightness, it doesn't flicker. So
Spot on. You just need like a tape that says flicker and then it's like above the light
yeah,
switch.
but it's not always.
Well, too bad we don't have a facilities team that knows how to work on that
Yeah,
kind of
too
stuff.
bad. Too bad we don't have one of those.
Too bad the facilities team sat on the bench outside for about an hour and a half waiting on other people.
Oh,
No comment.
no comment. All right, so go back to your car thing.
So it was just hard to tell because you got the really, really nice cars,
Mm-hmm.
but then you got the Dodge and Ram and all of that either make the Chrysler, Jeep and all that, or you can get one of the nicer trucks. And so it's just like such a broad span of prices
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, it really, you can't really tell what the average of that booth is.
Yeah, it is hard to say because you have like the big trucks that are going to be $80,000 or whatever. But then Toyota and Ford and, well, Honda wasn't there, but Toyota and Ford also make $30,000 vehicles. So they could have 3 or 4 of those before they hit the 100,000, or they have one truck and they hit the 100,000. So it's tough to estimate how much value is there. What were we?
The Ford Maverick.
The Ford Maverick. So, Daniel, you thought it was spacious. You felt it was spacious in there.
Surprisingly, just sitting in it, I'm somewhat tall. I'm 5'11". I'm not like crazy tall, but I felt like I could actually go on a road trip in it and be actually fine. But I sat in the back seats and it wasn't that bad. It was like somebody sitting in the front. So I was like, I could see me driving it. It's not something I would want to buy, but it's like, that's actually pretty comfortable for a small truck.
Yeah. You sat in it.
Yeah, I thought it was small.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that mindset that Daniel was talking about had to do with the outside looks incredibly small. Like, it is the same size as my Subaru Legacy. And that's also not a very big car. And you were like, oh, it's got a cab and it's got a bed. My Legacy just all one. And so, like Daniel, I sat in it and I was like, oh, I could see me driving it and buying it if I lived closer to stuff. But I'm like 17 miles away from the church, 12 miles away from my school. That's a 20-minute drive any way I want to go. And I couldn't see that being very comfortable sitting in that for 20 minutes.
Interesting. Okay. So the Ford Maverick is actually a truck I've considered purchasing because it starts at $25,000. So it's incredibly affordable. That's its big selling point.
Especially for a truck.
Yes. That's its big selling point. It is a truck that is highly affordable because of coming in at the $25,000 price point. Comfort levels, people are decently happy with the comfort, actually. I sat in it. So if I would get it, I would get the Maverick, lift it, and put new tires. Just so I could be a little bit more off the ground because I'm not gaining as much as I would like. One of my goals is
you're still like bending down to get in it.
Correct. In a Civic, I'm 6 inches off the ground. I would like to be a foot and a half off the ground. So the Maverick gets me there. I'm off the ground, but I would like to be just a little bit extra than what it comes at stock. So lift kit, new tires, gives it a little bit more aggressive look. Still, I would get the hybrid engine because then it gets very similar gas mileage to my Civic,
which is insane.
Which is great
because it has the aerodynamics of a shoebox.
Yes. So that's a great thing. That's kind of my goal is to have a truck to carry things, be higher off the ground, and still maintain some levels of high gas mileage. That's kind of my ideals. I sat into this to the Maverick. I had mixed feelings about it. I like the idea I just like described to you is very attractive to me. I'm like, okay, cool. Like I get to build this little version of a small truck thing, efficiency thing, whatever. I sat into the cab and I don't know, it's like that was the Limited.
Yeah.
And it didn't look nice. Like it didn't look as nice as like the F-150 Limited.
You can tell that it is a cheaper truck. And that's kind of what bothered me is one, the screen size. I'm a person that likes a pretty big screen. And that just like is smaller than my hand. And I feel like that would be hard for me to get used to in many ways because I'm an Apple CarPlay type of guy. I like it. I like being able to see where I'm going on the maps.
Sure.
And I don't like using the sound because I like to listen to my music. And so I can look down, see where I'm going, and not have to be interrupted by a voice.
Yeah.
And I feel like I wouldn't be able to see anything on that truck.
Mm.
I don't know if it's Apple CarPlay supported or not.
I believe it is.
Yeah.
At very least, like the limited model for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I had mixed feelings about that. But they had the Lightning that you could actually get into. That was cool.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't like that screen.
you don't like the screen in the Lightning?
No. Mostly because the knob in the middle.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's just like, why is it there?
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like that's just a thing that Ford decided to do.
Yeah.
Like because they had it in the Lightning and they have it in the
Explorer.
oh, they have it in the Explorer?
Yeah.
I think they have it in the Mustang Mach-E.
That too, yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. The knob just looks out of place.
mhm. So walked over to the Toyota section. They had the new Tacomas.
Mhm.
Those look pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was excited for the refresh because
It needed it.
It needed it.
They've been the same since like
For a while.
2000.
Yeah. So I was excited to have the refresh. We'll see once they announce like, you know, pricing and availability and whatnot. But as we're walking around, they didn't have the Prius. I kind of wanted to see the Prius. Talking about trucks and going to Prius is really funny. But you know, they're marketing it now that it's like all sporty, and I'm like, I want to see what you're.
I've seen a few of them on the road, and they don't look bad at all.
Yeah, so I wanted to see one of those, but they didn't have it. They had a ton of Corollas, but
Too many.
Yeah, all different variants of Corollas, and then I was looking at, I think it was the Venza. They switched it from like half a minivan to being full like small SUV.
Yeah.
I think it looks better this way. Like they had it in like stealth black is what I call it. Like exterior was just like standard black paint, but they had everything blacked out. Exterior black paint, interior was black, the plastics, everything was black. I'm like, this is cool. This looks like a little stealth vehicle, like a starter stealth vehicle. Like so that one looked cool. And then what else was it? Maybe RAV4. Either way, I walked around and it also prompted the question of like, do I need a truck or am I good just to get a SUV? Because technically speaking, I'm not carrying, what I'm looking to carry is like video equipment and stuff like that. Not outdoors or construction gear.
Yeah.
So yeah, it kind of prompted the question of like, maybe I need to start looking at SUVs rather than trucks.
I sat in a new Toyota SUV. It's the one they just redid.
Sequoia.
The Sequoia?
The big one.
That's a big one.
I sat in the back of it. I hated it.
Really? Not enough headroom?
No, I literally, when I got, my head just hit the roof.
Ooh. Oh no.
That happens to me in my car sometimes.
I'm like, I can't imagine what like Daniel and Hunter would do. They'd be like, it'd be like horrible for them.
Yeah. They have, so Toyota has the, what did they call it? BR4X? BZ4X. It's some electric car that they're releasing. It has a very weird name. Like it's literally just 4 unrelated letters and a number.
It's a Star Wars.
Yeah. That one looked okay. They have the Toyota Crown. That one was interesting. It's an interesting new vehicle.
Yeah.
New-ish vehicle. I know they've been doing it for a little while, but actually got to spend some time in it. The Grand Wagoneer. We took a look at the Grand Wagoneer, and it has a ton of hype. Forrest reviews on TikTok. He does a great video on like showcasing how amazing this is. It has a ton of features. I mean, we sat into it, and I think Jimmy sat in the back, and he goes, "Is this a screen in a center console?" There's a small like 4-inch tall but like 8-inch wide or 10-inch wide, whatever, screen for you to be able to control your entertainment stuff in the back. In the front, you have a screen for the passenger, a screen for the entertainment system, a screen for the heating system, and a screen for your speedometer. Everything's a screen. And then, of course, you have like a ton of control for the moonroof going half, like it's a gigantic moonroof. So goes like half. Do you want it tinted? Do you want it not? Or whatever, like all this kind of stuff that it does. So I was really excited to like explore the Grand Wagoneer. It's like 120,000 or something.
Yeah, it's stupid expensive.
And gets 16 miles per gallon.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. And I was like, that's dumb.
That's like Daniel's
truck gets better.
Actually, I get like right at 12 to 15.
Okay, well, then I'm trying to stand up for you.
If I'm good on a good day, I can get 16.
Yeah.
But he also has a giant front bumper on his.
Correct.
That definitely is not helping anything in that.
Yeah.
Like stock, my truck used to like 21 miles per gallon.
Yeah. But yours also now has like a
lift kit,
different wheels, all that kind of stuff.
Anything to decrease the fuel mileage. You know, let's touch his truck.
That's his goal.
Dude, how many miles a gallon in like 30 years? I'm getting about half. I'm getting miles per gallon. I'm getting
half
gallons per mile.
per gallon.
Not about miles per gallon, it's about miles per gallon.
Amen. But it's only half on that one too. So
yeah.
So yeah, I got disappointed with the Grand Wagoneer because of like you're paying all that, getting a ton of features, sure, but like the gas mileage does not make it worthwhile. You know,
I heard they're about to change it to a V6 instead of the V8s.
That might help.
I mean, you can't really go down from 16. That is very, very low.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big vehicle, though. I feel like a V8.
It is big.
I feel like the V6 is going to be underpowered for it.
And the V6s can do it. It's just about like how much do you want to haul. If it's the average person is going to be fine with a V6 in that. It's only like when you want to throw a trailer on it or whatever. Like if you're going super out off-roading or whatever into the mountains, I mean, I could see more of a justification for getting the V6.
I would not be doing that.
Well, Dodge is taking Dodge is taking out their V8s.
Oh wow, completely?
They complete all they're going into is electrics and their Hurricane engine, the V6.
That is crazy. I think Ford even said they aren't making coupes anymore. Like coupes are sedans. Like they're exclusively, they're diverting all their attention to making SUVs and trucks because those are the biggest sellers.
And they're Mustangs.
And then they're keeping Mustang, but then that's when they shifted to turning the Mustang into the Mach-E, so it's an SUV. You know?
I did sit in the Lincoln Navigator. Oh my goodness, Benny.
You feel like Matthew McConaughey?
You can call me a mom. You can call that a mom vehicle. I do not care. That has to be the most comfortable seat I have ever sat in my life. I would drive anywhere and everywhere if I had that. The headrest, Benny, there is no reason for something to be that soft.
That's funny.
It was one of those things where I was like, I get in my car, which, not going to lie, headrest, they suck. I think they didn't even like put any padding. I think it's just leather on top of wood. And so I sit in that. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's a miracle. The thigh support, you can customize how far you want your left leg and your right leg to be out. Who needs that? Who needs that?
Who needs that? Nobody. But yeah, it's there.
And then, what was the one that they had in the middle?
Nautica, I think.
Yeah, I think it was the new Nautica. Benny, that thing has scent pods in it. And I know Mercedes, BMW, and all that have already been doing that for a while. I have never experienced it. I did not think I think it was going to be like subtle. Like I have the little trees and all that in my car.
Yeah.
I think it's subtle. I don't really smell it anymore. I think that's a problem.
Yeah, everybody says they smell like leather after they come out of your car. Huh?
Yeah, I don't smell it. That was amazing.
Yeah.
The
So
scent in there.
these cars have like several cents that you get to just choose from.
Yeah. I think the Lincoln had like 3 cents.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, you're gonna have to replace it when you're done. But I wonder if the Lincoln Navigator has those cent pods. Because that would just be like dream car.
Oh, they have massaging seats. Best thing ever. I could.
They did have a section of massage chairs.
No, like in the car.
The car had
Oh,
massaging
what?
seats.
I'm not crazy, right? There was a section of massage chairs.
I was really confused.
We
I
don't
got
go-
really thrown off.
We don't go close to those anymore after Dillon got stuck in one. Huh?
You got stuck in a massage chair?
At the rodeo a few years ago, I just turned the thing off and I didn't click stop. But it didn't deflate the bags around my ankles. And so I couldn't get out.
I had to once delay a student from like coming home because they had like a surprise party going. So me, a friend of his, and him, the three of us, we went to the mall, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Like, how do I keep him occupied for a few hours? I ended up buying a sword, not a sword, hidden blade from Assassin's Creed, because I had to kill time. And I'm like, I'm still considering. And so we just hung out there for a little while. And then I had a weapon suddenly. And then we're walking around the mall. I'm like, let's go. Oh, look, a furniture store. And we found they had massage chairs. And so we sat into it. And that took up 20 minutes because each thing is a 20-minute thing. So you're sitting there. They got done and they're like, okay, we're ready to go home. I'm like, oh, I wanted to try yours. And so I sit down. All the employees were just circling us because they're like, oh yeah, somebody sits down in the massage chair. That's your opportunity to like make the sale.
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, I hate to tell you this, but I'm literally just trying to kill time. There you go. Okay. And they walk off, and they just had one person standing near me to tell all the other employees, nah, you're not gonna make the sale. And so I had to kill several hours at the mall, and it accumulated with me leaving with a hidden blade, maybe a new pair of jeans, and having sat in a massage chair for 40 to 60 minutes. The things I do for student ministry.
So if we ever have to get stuck at a furniture store with Benny, we know why. It's a surprise party.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm getting lost, I'm never lost.
Well, watch Benny get lost one time, and then us be like, "Oh, haha,
it's all
funny,
a
Benny.
ruse.
You're funny.
You're real funny." I'm like, no, guys.
I'm actually lost. Good one. You got us the first time.
Oh my gosh.
Did you see the brakes on the white Bugatti Chiron? You couldn't really see them behind the wheels of the black one, but the white one,
I did not pay attention to the brakes. No.
Benny, they were probably the size of this table.
Oh my gosh.
They were. Okay, that might be a bit of an,
It's an exaggeration.
I mean, like the side
If the-
table probably.
Yeah, the side table probably.
That's crazy.
They were massive.
Even those are like the size of like the Batmobile.
That's like.
An arm.
Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah. No, that's crazy.
Which I don't really get because.
I liked the Aston Martin. Did you see that one?
Oh yeah.
That was next to it. I really like that.
Yeah.
But some of the styling. I mean, the wheels flared out on the sides of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting.
Yeah. I kind of get why Bugatti put big brakes on it because if you want to go fast.
The lights are flickering again, guys. At this point, we need to just turn off the light.
Or, yeah.
Apparently, I was at 55%, not 50%.
51.3.
Yeah, 51.3%.
But at the same time, nobody's driving their $6-7 million car
Yeah.
all the way, like all of the top speed of like 300 something miles an hour. Because I know if I wrecked up my Bugatti Chiron, no matter how rich I was, I would still be upset.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, what does that do to the human body? Just like you better hope you don't hit a wall or something. You're just like, hope you slide.
Yeah, no. If you're flying at 300 miles per hour and you hit something, like you're a goner.
Yeah,
Like that's it.
I wish Hennessy would go to that. Go to the San Antonio.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Are they out of out like right outside of Dallas, or
No,
Houston?
they're in Houston.
Houston?
Yeah.
Even closer.
Apparently, they have a tuning school that you can go to.
Oh wow. We were talking about how the auto show seems smaller, and it feels like every year it gets smaller and smaller, and fewer auto manufacturers decide to come. And I'm not sure like where that stems from, but some of the things that we laid out was like they need to do a better job of marketing
Yeah.
the auto show, but also like making it worthwhile
Mhm.
both for the consumer but also the vendor, like, which is a two-sided coin. You have to make it worthwhile for both of them, because we feel what's happening is, let's say somebody decides to go to the auto show. Let's say I'm a big fan of Honda, which I guess I am. I've only owned Hondas. I'm a big fan of Honda. Show up at the auto show. I'm like, cool. I want to go check out the new Civic. I want to go check out what they're doing with the SI, or the new Type R, whatever they just announced a little while back. I'm like, cool. Maybe they'll have a Type R that I could sit in. That'd be super dope.
Mhm.
And then Honda just doesn't even show up to the auto show. Then next year, the likelihood of me going to the auto show is really low
Yeah.
because it didn't have the cars that I wanted. Now, flip side, the vendor side, I can see kind of why they don't want to show up, because if they're only trying to get sales, the auto show is not the place to
No.
like get a sale. But it's a long-term play. You have to be willing to like bring your cars and let people take a look at what you offer, let people sit in the cars. Like, this is their chance to sit into a Porsche, to sit into these cars that they never get to sit in. Now I understand why they don't let us sit in the Bugatti, but
Come
but
on,
still,
Benny,
like,
don't you always sit in a $5 million car?
well, yeah, but like, that's my Bugatti that's in the vault. But
Excuse me.
no,
I
but
don't
like
store mine there.
it's that kind of stuff that, like, if they're only if they're only worried about making a sale, then that's and that's their metric. That's why vendors aren't showing up. Like, maybe Honda doesn't show up because they're like, oh well, people aren't showing up to buy more Hondas right now, or whatever the case may be. But if people aren't showing up to buy more Hondas from the auto show, then they're like, oh, it's not worth our time to go to the auto show. Well, yeah, but now people aren't seeing the new Hondas, and now therefore they're not going to go to the dealership either.
Yeah.
So I think all around, the auto show committee just needs to do a better job of marketing it, and then making it worthwhile for those that attend and those that like the vendors.
Yeah.
They had a couple games that I saw on social media. I had no idea was happening. Apparently they had some kind of like media challenge out front on Friday morning, or Friday, like, as it opened. I'm like, well, that would have been nice to know of. Like, I would have been down to like participate in some kind of game activity, and you get a chance to like win a car or something. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff like that they should do more of, but publicize that they're doing it, because then people are going to want to show up and like sign up for a chance to get 50,000 off a luxury, 10,000 off of such and such thing, to lock in at whatever price point or whatever. If you really want to do the sales thing, like, do that kind of deal with the dealers, or just like whatever you can do to make it worthwhile for the family to show up at the auto show. Like, I've been going to the auto show for a long time, and for a long time it was just my family thing. So nowadays it's what I love to do with my sister, my brother-in-law, my dad. Like, we all really enjoy the auto show. My mom, not as much. She's not into cars. To be fair, Cynthia isn't either. My sister also isn't into cars. She shows up because like we're there, and so it's kind of more of a guy thing in my family. But still, the whole thing started as like a family thing, because we just like, if you like looking at cars, like, bring the whole family. This one doesn't have that same kind of energy of like, bring the whole family. They kind of market it that way, but like, they don't have anything to make it worthwhile for the family.
I thought it was kind of like, I liked looking at all the vehicles, but this year, from last year, it seemed more exciting than this year. Almost kind of boring. Like, oh, I saw these last year.
Yeah.
or they're the same,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
or there's nothing new,
Right.
or it's just.
Mm-hmm.
I wish this manufacturer came in. Like I said, like you were saying, I think Porsche could have came in because Porsche is running some of the same prices some of those like Toyotas even running. If
true.
you think about it, because their new Tundra is about it could be 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just crazy to think about.
It's crazy.
So
You could have a Tundra or you could have a Porsche.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
so it's not. So there's no reason why Porsche couldn't be there.
Yeah. Well, and there's so many, I mean, there's so many auto manufacturers here in town that should bring their vehicles. Um,
Like I think even like
Honda-
Ferrari could bring some because there's some.
Ferrari, Mini, BMW could bring their own thing. Lexus
Lexus
was there. Lexus was there. Let's see, Acura was there, but Honda wasn't.
Yeah.
I wish like GMC was there because they had Chevy.
GMC would be cool.
Because GMC has a little bit
Yeah.
different, and even like the Cadillacs,
Mm-hmm.
because they've had Lincoln there, so Cadillac could have
Yeah,
been
Cadillac, Buick, those could all come.
Mhm.
There's just a whole bunch that I'm like, we're all here. Like, Jimmy did bring up like, I wish Tesla would show up. I'm like, yes, but Tesla doesn't do this. Tesla doesn't. If you notice, Tesla does no marketing. Tesla doesn't like market in the traditional sense. Tesla's only marketing is us talking about Tesla because they realize, I mean, I don't know how they hacked this. Literally, word of mouth is the best way of advertising. And by not advertising, they forced themselves into word of mouth advertising. That like Elon just comes out and says, we have a Tesla and it does this. Thank you. That's it. And suddenly everyone else talks about it, but they don't go to auto shows.
Mm-mm.
They don't post ads on TV. They don't do like all this kind of stuff. They're like, no. We're Tesla. You know who we are. That's crazy.
That's why they took their cars out of Forza. Like Forza Horizon 3, that's the last Tesla they ever had in the game.
Wow.
Yeah, you're right. They haven't had Tesla in the game.
They don't.
Dang. Anyway, quick. That was a quick 32-minute conversation about the auto show.
I do wish Cadillac and GMC were there because I want to look at the new Hummer.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see.
Oh yeah, if they brought in the new Hummer EV.
I want to see what it feels like on the inside because the thing weighs 9,000 pounds.
Yeah, the thing is gigantic.
And I've seen a few of them in person. I'm like, if I got rear-ended by that, I'm dead. Like, there's nothing stopping that thing.
Yeah.
And then I want to see the new Cadillac Escalade.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see the Cadillac Escalade V. I've seen one of them. A grandma was driving it, so like I couldn't really be like drive it because
yeah,
she was like 70. But yeah, like I want to see one of those. I would rather have a Lincoln Navigator.
You haven't sat in one though. You wouldn't know that unless you sat in one of the new Cadillacs.
That is fair.
I would have a Lincoln Navigator over an F-350 if I was paying for everything.
Okay.
Because it does have the 3.5 V6,
yeah.
which my dad has the 2.8 twin turbo V6, which is still, I think it's still considered an EcoBoost.
I believe so, yeah.
Because it has the twin turbos, and that thing already gets up and goes. And you throw that in a family SUV with a lot of more liters, and I just wonder how fast that thing would be.
Oh, my brother has the Explorer and the 3.5 EcoBoost, the twin turbo one. That one thing is all-wheel drive. You can get 0 to 60 in like quick and take turns and stuff real quick.
Yeah,
it's my favorite thing. Just like having a family SUV. They're like, oh yeah, it just does 0 to 60 in 4 seconds.
No big deal.
Yeah.
Did you test drive any of those ones that the test track over there?
No, I didn't.
They were mostly electric.
Yeah, I thought about going to try the Lightning, but eventually, I think we were all ready to go home, and Cynthia and Jimmy had to like go take care of the dog or whatever. So I said like, oh, okay, no big deal. I'll go home. Single tear. It was fine though.
How old do you have to be to test drive a vehicle from a dealership? Because me and Daniel had this thought. I think you have to be like 25, right?
I thought it was 18 because
I'm pretty sure it's either 16 or 18.
I think it's
Really?
18.
It's low because like
Oh,
in my mind it's like well, one at the auto show to test any of them
16.
16.
Yeah.
As if you can drive legally, like just fill out the form and you're allowed to drive. But to go to a dealer and test drive a car, probably the same, but you know,
I,
Yeah.
I think it's
if
like
you're obviously young, then they might like be a little more careful with you or whatever. But I remember sometimes I've showed up at dealerships and I'm like, hey, I'm interested in I've shown up to Acura. I'd be like, hey, I want to test drive the new TLX. Like, oh, okay. They just walk back, like no question. I'm like, this is great.
This feels illegal.
Like the reverse psychology of not sending in a salesperson and just being like, yeah, sure, here's the car.
Mhm.
Suddenly I was like, maybe I do want to buy it.
Honda did that too.
And no one even said anything.
Yeah, I think Honda did that. And they asked for my dad's driver's license.
Hmm.
And then they just gave us the keys. I'm
Yep.
like, I could take this on a pretty quick road. Like, I could go to Bucky's and just be like, oh, yeah, I was testing it, seeing how it was doing.
Mhm.
You can put 80 miles on that thing.
well, no, I was talking to Noah the other day. He's like, yeah, if you're up in College Station, I can get you a car. Like I can do a 24-hour
Like a loaner vehicle.
loan on any car under 50,000.
Wow.
Then he's like, oh, if you want a car and that you've always wanted to drive, I can get it in. And it says for a customer.
Nice.
So he's like, I have a GT 350 in right now. 6-speed manual that you could drive. I'm like,
That's crazy.
Dillon, can we stay extra day?
I need one more day.
What Daniel failed to think about is we had to be at the church at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Realistically, we didn't have to be there till 10:30.
They do need to get the Food for Families delivery time closed. Because it went from anywhere from 6 p.m. Friday to 6 a.m. Saturday to 8 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Saturday. And ended up being 10:30 that it got there. Which, thank God for electric pallet unloaders. Loaders and unloaders.
Yeah.
Because we didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yay, technology.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to Bible study.
How was y'all's week?
Pretty good. Just worked and just got barely any sleep, but did Food for Families this weekend.
Nice.
Which, if Daniel ever tells you a time, add a few hours onto that. Because that's...
Hey, I got you out at 3 pretty much.
I said we had to be there by 3. I told Daniel, we can do Food for Families, but I'd like to be at the car show by 3 because it closed at 7 on Sunday. It gives us 4 hours. I didn't know how big it was. I didn't know how long it would take. So I figured I'd rather take our time than be rushing whenever we see how big it is. We didn't get done with Food for Families till 3. Get back here, get lunch, 3:30. Get back down to the car show at 4. Which, thankfully, it wasn't that big, so we had time to look at everything.
Yeah.
But from now on, if Daniel says he'll help with something, just assume you're going to be helping with it too.
That's a good
Yeah,
rule. That's a good rule.
Basically, yeah. Oh, I wasn't planning on it. Then Dave was like, Buford Watson needs help.
Needs an extra, yeah.
An extra hand, and his group and his guy
Right.
that bought 10 needs help. He's like, can you help? And I'm like, yeah, I guess.
I guess so.
And I was like, let me see if I can get a couple guys to help. I knew Dillon probably would say yes, but
Because
I
I'm a good
asked
servant
him.
of the Lord.
Amen.
So he said yes. So I got Logan too, and Caleb was a little lenient to say yes or no to it, but
Yeah,
he
but
got forced into
He got
it.
wrangled in.
Yeah. So then I asked Alyssa like a couple days ago, and I thought she totally forgot about it. And she shows up.
Yeah.
I was like, where are we going?
Sometimes that's how it happens. Like the people you think are going to be surefire,
Oh no,
something
wait.
comes up
Wait,
And then people
I'm
you
not
think
done
like,
yet.
there's no way they're not gonna show up.
I'm not done yet. She shows up, stays there for the end of the packing.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't pack. Just sits there like we're ready to go.
To be fair, Daniel did the same thing. He did not help one so big.
I
Wow.
did.
He might have done one box.
No,
Wow.
I lifted like 20 of them. No?
All
Wow.
20 of them.
Okay. Anyway, so get it all done, getting ready to leave, have to go get my truck, and she's like, "Yeah, I decided I'm gonna go home and eat turkey with my family." So she leaves. Basically,
Okay.
So I don't know.
And I made fun of Jordan for taping the entire time and not lifting a box. Because all he did is have the tape roll. And he was just taping. I'm like, gosh, Jordan, you've never worked a day in your life.
He's like, I plan to keep it that way.
So there's a reason you work an office job.
Oh,
Did you hear he got rear-ended?
no.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
that's
back
such a
of his
bummer.
BMW no longer looks like the back of a BMW.
Oh no.
It's bad too.
That sucks.
I feel like they're probably gonna like total it out.
No.
You don't think so?
No. But it's pretty, like,
It's gonna take a lot of work, like a lot of
I don't-
hours of work.
I don't know if it would be a smart idea for him to open his trunk because his
It
trunk,
might come off.
yeah. His,
Oh no.
as Morgan said to my car, his trunk looks like it has a cleft lip.
Hmm.
Thank you, Morgan.
What have we got? Do you have a question for? Do you have another question for our discussion today?
Vinny, as a 30, you're 30, right?
I'm 29. Thank you very much.
So, as a, hold on, my math is wrong now.
I must adjust. Hold on.
Benny, as a 29-year-old who is statistically dead in in 56 years, not 55. Statistically,
Okay. keep
if you
going.
live, I gave you an extra 2 years.
No,
If
thank you. I appreciate you.
I mean, if you keep up your diet of no fruit or vegetables, you're gonna be there.
Hey, you know, I think I'm in better health than anybody ever anticipated for not eating fruits and vegetables.
For not eating fruits and vegetables, that's a lie.
Everyone thought you'd be dead by 30, and now technically they still have 6 months to be right. But
So where do you see yourself? Or first, how does it feel? You're 30,
29.
29, sorry.
So how does it feel for me to be approaching 30?
Yes, we'll go with that. Approaching 30.
Okay,
That way I'm not
because then it's
completely
a
wrong.
nicer number.
Yeah.
Feels good. It feels interesting because so getting to 30 is like a lot of people, there's like a stigma of like how much your life has to be put together and whatnot by this point. And for a lot of people, they're at different places in terms of life progress or whatever, but it's just like what path you decided to go on and whatnot. Anyway, hitting 30, I feel like I've learned so much in the last decade. Graduating from high school and then having this first decade of adulthood, it has been really, really good because of just like life experiences and well, just like the lessons you learn from being an adult and extending the things that you learned in college, in high school, and whatnot, extending those things to a practical sense. So for me, I mean, I did all sorts of like media stuff, production stuff, but also became youth director, youth pastor, worship leader, served in many different facets at the church in Illinois. But like I have done so much in a decade, and the fact that I still have so much more time is what gets me excited
Mhm.
for like, okay, cool. Now I've just spent a decade learning. Now what happened? It gets me excited for what's going to happen in another decade and how much I'm going to be able to accomplish in that time.
When your life's halfway gone, statistically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so actually, let's hit on that, right? So what's the part of your question about me dying?
Well, I just said I think the average age of a male is like 85 in America.
Okay.
Could be wrong. I think that's the last I heard.
Okay.
So 52 is a weird number. I'm like, I'll just round it up to 55.
Sure.
So this kind of ties in, or what's the reason that stemmed from? The reason I asked that question is because I was thinking about it, I'm like, man, like I'm 18.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an illegal adult, or I'm a legal adult.
Mm-hmm.
I have any opportunity I want to take.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too deep into college where it'd be like super bad to back out.
Mm-hmm.
But I like if I want to go be a farmer, I could go be a farmer. Oh, it's not like my top
That
of the
kind of
list.
ties into last week's
Callbacks.
where we said it's really hard to become a farmer because you have to be have family into it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could find a way to get into it. It wouldn't be the easiest, but like I have almost any opportunity I want to take.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I wonder where Benny's at because he's a decade older than us.
Mm-hmm.
A decade and a year specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, oh, I wonder what it's like being 30. Because I know for me, it's like, I don't know where I see myself really at all.
Yeah.
And I wonder if Benny's either in the same predicament of he doesn't really know where he sees himself, or he's like, oh, I have a general idea, it's still not super there. And then I was like, what has he learned for a third of his life being gone? And where does he see himself at the halfway point of, so in another decade?
Existence. Okay. So let's take it one piece at a time.
So the first one,
Mm-hmm.
where do you feel like you are right now? Because for me,
mentally.
I'm focused on getting preferably a high paying job just to be comfortable, starting a family, and just really graduating school and getting all that figured out. Getting life as an adult figured out
Mm-hmm.
as a newer adult.
Sure. So I would say I'm actually in a similar spot
Mhm.
in the sense of I just spent a decade working.
Yeah.
And not to say like there weren't endeavors to like make a relationship to see if that would be fruitful at all.
But it wasn't like your top priority.
It wasn't. Yeah, I would say it wasn't my top priority because I really made my work efforts
higher up on a list.
Higher up on the list. At first, it was school.
Mhm.
At first, it was no, I should say at first that involved my schooling, and then I made the decision that I am getting way more experience and way more value out of working than I am in my education or in schooling. I'm getting way more education on my own and through work than I am in a degree plan for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I made the decision to stop school. And that happened because of a job change. I became a youth pastor. So I should say, like, I started as a business degree, got straight C's, and then but at that point, I already had my job as a graphic designer here at Mission City, but before it was Mission City. but I was working here at the church as a graphic designer, learning all sorts of different skills. And everyone's like, why aren't you just studying graphic design? I'm like, okay. So I went to San Antonio College, got an associate's degree of communications design. And so now I had a fancy piece of paper that told me that I know how to do what I'm already doing. So it's great. Then I decided to pursue student ministry. And I went to Wayland Baptist University, started studying biblical studies, but with a specific focus in youth ministry. As I'm studying that, that's when I got a call to go to Illinois and become a youth pastor,
Like
a youth
spiritual
director.
call or literal call?
Literal phone call. That's a former supervisor of mine got the senior pastor position up there, and then when they were looking for a youth pastor, he remembered that I had told him that's one of my passions is ministry and pursuing that. So he called me. I flew up, checked it out, and everything fell into place for me to take the position. So I was there for 5 years, and as I moved up there, I stopped my schooling because I was just in the work. I had to just focus on making the ministry run.
It was a lot.
Yeah. It was all new, and I had to learn what that entails, what it means to be a youth pastor, what it means to be in that community. How do I reach into the schools? How do I reach other churches? Like, how can I connect with other churches? There was a huge network of youth pastors in Illinois that just met monthly to learn from each other, see what we're doing, learn different techniques that we could apply to our own ministries. So I spent 5 years doing that. Tried doing online school a couple times. Once continuing from what I was doing here in San Antonio, and then I did a different university. Tried that for a little bit, and then the pandemic hit, and then I had to go like double down on the tech producer, worship leader role, like that side of my role at the church. So went into that, and then now at this point, I'm like, I'm 10 years into the workforce, and I have learned everything I need. I have been able to learn on my own the skills that I needed for what I'm doing. So in this season of my life, that's why I have come. I did not focus on education and college as my primary focus. My primary focus was doing my work and learning through that. So now we come to, I am approaching 30, and where is my mindset? Now my mindset is, I have done all these things. I have learned all these things. Now what do I do as a long-term play? I've done a whole bunch of stuff. What do I do that I could do for the next 2 decades, 3 decades, whatever. So that's kind of where I'm at. So in a similar sense of like trying to figure out your career, that's what I'm figuring out, because I do see some different ideas of like business development, but also my activities at church. I should say, like involvement at my church, like how much I serve and volunteer in different ways, but also the things I do as a part of the staff. So trying to figure out that balance and what I feel that God is calling me to in that realm. And then now that I've gone around and done the whole work is top priority thing, now my attitude is shifting into, rather than me jumping in and serving at every single opportunity, now I'm like, no, I need to, I'm going to say this. I say no more now than I did in my early 20s for sure, because I try to be careful with my yes. So I want to make sure that what I'm spending my time on, it's very intentional.
Mm-hmm.
of I am taking my time to work on such and such business idea. I'm taking my time to intentionally rest. I am taking my time to, fill in the blank. So I don't like filling up my schedule just for the sake of like, oh, I get to do this and I get to do that and I get to do this and that. I don't like that anymore. There's still some element of like excitement from that because I do love serving people, but I would say that now I am way more cautious with just filling my schedule with whatever it is. Now I'm very intentional, because again, I'm trying to set things up now for the next 2 decades. So now I think that's what best sums it up. I have learned for 1 decade. I am now gonna take time in this next decade. Like, I think in the next 5 to 7, let's just say for nice numbers, 5 to 10 years, I'm going to be taking time to set things up for things that can hold me over for 20 to 30 years.
What about family? Are you focused on that at all?
Yeah. I would say that has become a much bigger thing. Like that is becoming a bigger priority for me, is taking time for relationships.
Yeah.
Even just something I was thinking on this past week was, I don't take vacations, and there's a idea that I was messing around with for a vacation. So the thought that came through my mind was, how am I going to do this vacation when I have so much going on at work? Young Benny says, I can't take vacation because I'm working.
Yeah.
I have so much things to do. Now, like, older Benny says, yeah, but is it worth sacrificing the relationships that's going to build with the people that I'm thinking about, like, going on this vacation with? Is it worth sacrificing the relationships, or is it worth sacrificing the work?
Yeah.
Am I going to get more worth out of building the connection and community with the people that I'm going with, more so than the work ethic, than the whatever I'm going to gain from being at work on those days? And to be fair, sometimes the answer is no, you should probably go to work.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes in some situations, if I would just let's say, one of my ideas is I would like to go to Big Bend and photograph it. I think I've seen a lot of people. I've seen people talk about how beautiful it is, seen some photos of it, and I'm like, that would be great. It's a close-ish big park, big national park that I can go photograph. I would love to go do that. Would a trip to Big Bend by myself be worth sacrificing Food for Families weekend? No, like, there's more things that I got to do during Food for Families weekend, or for sure, like, during Christmas.
Yeah.
However, there are other times in which, oh, hey, I'm going to plan this vacation that's actually going to bring me closer to this group of friends, whatever. And it's going to be a worthwhile memory. It's going to do, whatever. And what's going to happen at work? I'm going to miss a Sunday and a few days in the office. Okay. That's affordable. Like, then it's worthwhile going on the vacation and building that relationships building the relationships, building the memories, building the connections. That's more worthwhile in that scenario. It varies. But yeah, to answer your question, like, I think that consideration has heightened in the last few years.
And a good thing about your job is you can do it remotely.
Yes.
Unlike Daniel, he can't really fix the church through a Zoom
Yeah,
call.
no, there are definitely advantages to certain positions, but I think that's what's great too, even for Daniel, is he's able to go on little trips. Like you guys just went to College Station for a day or whatever. So,
which was basically a waste of time.
well,
I mean, I thought it was fun just
Yeah.
getting out, just
Yeah.
driving and stuff and hanging and talking. And I need to get closer.
point the microphone to where you're talking. There you
Okay. Well, it was just fun just going up to College Station. Just got to see some friends, got to hang out with Dillon on the way,
Mm-hmm.
and just driving up there and making fun of people on the way, and just
Cherished memories.
and doing all the bumps, and we started messing with Waze's voices and stuff, and just
Yeah, I'm no longer a proponent. Proponent? Is that a right word?
Proponent?
Is that a right word?
Yes, I think. Like somebody who's in favor of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am on top of my vocabulary today. No longer a fan of Waze. It took me on some back road. My little legacy, it does not have the highest ground clearance. There were some bumps on that road. I'm like, oh, my oil pan's gone. This is the one. I'm gonna have to call somebody. I'm in the middle of nowhere. Don't know where I am.
Oh no.
I can ask a cow, but I don't know what that's gonna do.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh. And on the way back down, I used Apple Maps because I'm like, oh, I wonder if it's just the thing, if it's just the navigation. And on the way up there, it took us like 4 hours, give or take. We left at 2:15 and didn't get there till 7, probably 6:45.
yeah. No, we got there like 6:20, huh?
Yeah. But then Armando and Andrea left.
Like 30 minutes behind us.
I'd say 30 to 45 minutes because we were able to stop at the Buc-ee's in San Marcos.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we went I know for a fact we went 2 different ways. I don't know if they use Apple Maps, but probably. And they may or may not have gotten there probably 40 to 50 minutes before we did, after they stopped at Buc-ee's.
Hmm.
We did stop at Buc-ee's twice.
But we're
But-
like super quick. We're
Yeah,
like
both
less
times.
than 15.
Yeah,
huh?
both
Yeah.
times were very quick. And so, yeah, Waze, great voices. I love the fact that I can hear when I speed one by just by the ding. I love the fact that it'll tell me where there's a police officer. I don't like the routes.
There was one time I used Waze and they had a special promotion to have Morgan Freeman's voice. And there was like, I was getting into a traffic jam, so everything was slowing down. And you just hear Morgan Freeman chime in. He goes, "There's a slowdown ahead for 7 minutes, but together we will overcome." And I'm like, I feel so encouraged. Morgan Freeman said we will get through this traffic jam together.
I love it when they had Medea on there.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it was fun. Huh?
I didn't know who that was till the way up there.
Oh,
Never heard of him.
yeah.
I thought he said Medina. And I was like, is that a
The
lake?
lake?
Yeah.
No, I showed him. He's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Like in one of the clips, it was
I will
hilarious.
say, for me, Medea got old in the sense of like, I saw a few of her movies and it was really funny. His movies, a few movies, and it was really funny. And then over time, it just became like, it's the same joke. Like, in the sense, like, it's still funny for the same reason.
Yeah.
You know? So that's like, I got meh with Medea, but it is funny.
I don't know.
I
just
used to
love him
use
doing
DJ
that voice.
Khaled.
DJ Khaled.
Yeah. Turn right. It was so funny.
Or Mr. T. Mr. T was one for
Oh,
a while.
Mr. T is funny.
Turn right, you fool.
Yeah.
Who's Mr. T?
Oh,
from the A Team.
Never seen it.
Okay,
black
never
guy
mind.
was a big mohawk.
Still never seen it.
All right, that's
Okay,
fine. That's fine.
uncultured.
Uncultured.
Sorry.
So let's go back to your question. You had a part two, like
Okay.
the last part of the question, or whatever. So that's where I'm at with coming to 30.
All right. What have you learned a third of the way through your life? What are some not necessarily inspirational, useful things that people could benefit from?
Yeah. Oh.
Don't even say the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared.
Yeah, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. No lie, we used that the other day. Like the last week or something, we were trying to figure out like the angles for where to shine lights and whatnot. And so Gabe and I had on the whiteboard drawn math equations and diagrams of how to hang the lights at which height and what angle. And then it turned out that we did way too much work. It was like after 20 minutes, Gabe looked at it. He goes, "We're stupid. It's a 45, 45, 90 degree triangle. All the numbers are consistent because they have to be." So we've been solving all this stuff, and it's like, no, you actually had the answer the whole time. Oh man. So I think the biggest takeaways is you shouldn't don't get caught up in the details, because you're going to forget about them in like a week, a month.
Mhm.
Like a lot of times when you get into fights, when you get into trials or whatever, like you get into various just tough times. I apparently have a thing called radical acceptance. Is a psychological condition. It literally means like it's the official fancy term for it is what it is. Apparently that's my constant state in life. So however, so one, apparently I have that to a fault. Two, what that has afforded me is I don't get as wound up about things, and I don't hold grudges because it's not worthwhile in the long term. So that's one thing, is I would not worry about being stressed about school, being stressed about work or whatever. Like, you have to take your time in each season and have grace for yourself, because every single person's going to be going at it differently. I know a lot of my classmates that like are already married, already have kids. I know some others who are in the same boat as me. They've just been working the whole time and haven't found the person to settle down with yet. So everyone has their own kind of walk that they do. So don't beat yourself up about like, I don't feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be. No, actually you're right where you're supposed to be for what God has for you. I found that at every step that I was able to how do I say this? As I pursued Christ, he put me in the places that I needed to be at.
Yeah.
People were getting laid off of work, and I got to stay because of the rapport I had with the new people in leadership. Because of the way I handle myself, I was given more responsibility. Um, that then trained me for the next position that I had. And then it happened all over again. People saw the way I acted. Um, I was able to learn more and more and be able to serve more and more. And um, I didn't, how do I say this? I never felt like I was in the wrong place because I was always being trained in something that was in preparation for the next stage.
Yeah.
And so I think God orchestrates our steps in such a way to prepare us for what he has for us next.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to go through something accidentally. There's always going to be a purpose for it. There's going to be a way that even if it's something really, really hard, you're going to be able to learn something from that, or you're going to be able to now relate to somebody and therefore share the gospel or share an encouraging word with somebody else who is also experiencing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like, don't get wound up in the details. Focus on what matters.
Mm-hmm.
And what matters most is, well, I mean, what matters most is what's going to be eternal.
Yeah.
And it descends from there. So, in terms of time,
mm-hmm.
what matters most is the eternal. Jesus, your relationship with him, your relationship with God. That's the most important thing. That, like, out of all the things that I've pursued, that has been the constant throughout all of it. And the value I get from pursuing his word is infinitely more important than the value I got from hours and hours and hours of YouTube videos or spending time with people or whatever. Like, all of that was good. Like, I learned a ton from the YouTube videos. I learned a ton from practicing different things, from being with people and living life with them, and like that was all super worthwhile. But spending time with God was even more, because that is what prepared me for those moments with people. So, relationship with God and focusing on making sure that relationship is healthy, meaning I'm doing my part. That was number one. Then you come down from there. What are you doing that has longevity for the entirety of your life? So, the wisdom I'm gaining, the knowledge I'm learning, lots of my YouTube videos are educational.
Yeah.
So I spend my free time learning about technology, learning about photography, videography, learning about business, learning about leadership, learning about for fun, I learn that. Yeah. So that's going to have bearings all throughout my life. Then you come back from that. What's the next most important thing? The next most important thing then is probably like the people you are led to draw close. Because those are the people that, when you invest into those relationships, they become lifelong relationships. Spend the time with them. Spend, like, really be in the moment with them. Um, people have a desire for community. People have a desire for connection.
Yeah.
Some of the most important things I've ever done for people have just been there,
Yeah.
not even like saying anything,
Hmm.
but just like,
Being able to listen.
Because what I'm showing them is that I am there in the thick of it.
Mhm.
It's not just that I'm saying, yeah, I've got your back. It's that I'm there.
You're showing.
Yeah. So I would say like the personal relationships was the next most important thing.
I heard something. I don't forgot who said it, but it was something like, look towards God and then look slightly to your left and slightly to your right, but still looking in front of you, and run towards those people because they're also running towards God.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool because you don't ever, I feel like a lot of times we look back just like without thinking about it. And then we look at all these people that are not necessarily more Christian, but outwardly more religious than us. We're like, oh, they're weird, but we're in the same boat. Yeah, they might do stuff that other people think are weird, but we only got 83 years, 85 years on this earth, and compared to the eternity in heaven, it's like that is nothing.
I really like that analogy. I had an old mentor or discipler of mine. In Illinois, he had a group of people that he would disciple every single year. Every single year, he develops a cadre. Is what he calls it, and it's a group of people focused on a given purpose. And so it would be 12 men coming together to study God's word and to become better men of God.
Was it for like the 12 disciples? Is that why you only got 12 people?
Yep. It was specifically designed for that. So we would spend from like October to May, I think, would be the year. Every single month we get together and we learn more and more. And one of the things that he instilled within us is a disciple maker's prayer. And within that prayer is this line that says, Jesus, would you reveal to me, show me who you want me to pull close for disciple making friendships. That's what your analogy reminds me of. As you are pursuing the Lord, he will reveal to you who you are to pull close for disciple making. And that disciple making process is not even necessarily like you teaching them. It is like it's a two-way street. Disciple making is a two-way street. We become co-disciples with one another. Like what we have done for a year and a half is that, in the sense where we study God's word and we share what we learn from it. I might teach you in some moments, but at the same time, whenever you share your insights, you are also teaching me.
Yeah.
I am learning from your life experiences. You are learning from my life experiences. We are all focused on learning from God's word and what he has for us. So throughout life, in what I was saying earlier about like pulling people closer or showing people that you're there, that stems from that prayer that is, show me who to pull close. Show me who are the people around me that that you have called me to reach, you know, and then how I can show Jesus to them. Yeah. I don't know. Does that kind of answer the
Yeah.
the question of like some of the biggest, those I think are some of my biggest takeaways that I've just been learning and reflecting on for a little while.
Yeah. Because I would say for me, like right now, I'm really focused on trying to focus on God and listen to Him. Because this weekend, it was busy.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a field trip with Miss Frizzle. Anything but ordinary. And so it was just really hard because, like, Friday, got to go up to College. Don't have to, but, like, I want to go up to College Station and support them. And it's like, that takes out a good chunk of your day. Because, and they didn't even play the whole game.
They lost bad.
Oh gosh.
48, I think. The total game itself lasted 20 minutes.
Not 45 at least.
No, the game lasted 20 minutes because it had to. Because in the 6A, I guess rule book, or it might be TAPS, is if you're down by 45, the winning team wins. I guess because they don't want to.
Like a mercy rule thing?
Yeah. But if it's in the first half, they have to play the entire first half.
Dang.
And so I think that its final score ended up being like 48-0. And it was just like, oh my goodness.
They're just
That's
gonna
terrible.
tear it apart.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of glad because I didn't want to end up driving. Like I already got home at like 2:20. And so then me driving back, it would have been like 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think a big part of that is just like the busyness of supporting people and, like you said, saying yes to stuff. Definitely be more careful about that. Because, like, this weekend just like kicked my butt. I got like 8 school assignments to do. Saturday, help with unloading the semi truck. And then do some schoolwork. And then Sunday, wake up early, get to the church, help set up with the golf cart.
Right.
Do the food for families. That went to 12:30, and then go deliver the boxes. That went till 3.
Yeah.
And then, okay, everybody go meet up back at the church. Logan and Cash go home with my mom. I'll take me, my dad, and Dana to the car show. And then get home, then get home at like, I want to say I got home at like 6:30. Still like knock out some more assignments. And then wake up this morning. Wake up this morning, get some more assignments done, come up to the church, do this, and then tomorrow I got a whole nother week of school, just restart.
Yeah.
And so it's just like rough to put my stresses to God when when I don't have time to when I'm not making time to open the word.
Yeah.
To try to put my stresses to God.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we all have things that draw our attention. But I really liked, I mean, you articulated that well. When we don't make time for God, then what happens is we get stressed and overwhelmed, or like it's just one thing to the next, and you might then say yes to things and it might still be fun, it might still be fine, but there's not that intentionality.
Yeah.
When you just quickly say, yeah, I'll go. What did you just agree to? You know? So I think when you set that priority of, hey, I'm making time for God right now, I'm making time for God, in the morning. I'm making time for God, whatever, like whatever time that needs to be. I'm making time for God, and that's going to be set in stone so that I can focus on my schoolwork, or I can focus on my job. I can focus on the appointments I have with my friends. And then that gives you perspective on, I have 2 hours for free and somebody asked me if I could help get, I don't know, pick up something, help move a table. Okay. Yeah. Like, when everything else is in order, now you can make a more intentional choice of, am I free to help right now? Can I say yes right now? Or am I busy because I haven't gotten through my priorities?
Yeah.
I think there is a season for both. I actually had a really good discussion with Nathaniel. Shout out to episode 1.
Where's the episode 2?
We
Nobody
don't know.
knows.
Mystery guest. That's how our show operates. Mystery guest to us all. No, I had a really good discussion with him on this nature of, like, sometimes you just have seasons in which you are running with a full schedule. And you are saying yes to more things because it does afford you more opportunities. And there is good that comes from that. I think my only thing to say in response is just keep things in priority order.
Yeah.
Don't say yes so many times that suddenly you're saying no to your time with God. Because if that starts falling apart,
everything else,
then the rest is going to start falling apart. So just have it in order. That way you can still say yes to people.
Like for me, like lately, I've been saying yes to so much stuff. It's just like working at a church. I have to say yes, 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 yes. And then when people want me to go do stuff, I feel like I need to go do it, and I say yes.
Sure.
It's just I haven't found that balance yet of where I can say no. Because some of the stuff is, that's a really good learning moment for me. It's something that was worship or something. And I'm like, I need to go to that. That's going to be a good learning for me. And I say yes, and I get back late and stuff. And it's just, I don't know. Just sometimes I just feel like I just need to say no. But it's like at the same time, it's always really good I went.
Good things. Yeah.
And like with my schedule now, it's like I'm looking, if I start school, how am I going to fit this in? Bible study Wednesdays. I'll be free maybe Thursdays and Fridays and weekends, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, where do I say no to?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That answer really only comes through prayer. I think the biggest thing there is a time and a season for everything. There was a time and a season in which I felt very strong when I was 19. I felt very strongly of, I am supposed to serve in students because I am a key leader. I grew up in the student ministry. I was in the servant leadership team. I know how to do this. I can now serve. All that. And then I got busy with work and I got involved with college ministry. And even though I initially told the student pastor, like, yeah, I'm willing to help. I'm willing to serve. My schedule actually didn't dictate that. My schedule actually dictated that I was more inclined to help with college. And that's okay. Like, there's a season in which you can serve in students and serve in whatever and serve like I found myself I served in students all the time. I had things with classmates throughout the day, and then I filled up the rest of my schedule with schoolwork and work. I got to a point in which I was like, maybe right now it's actually that season where I'm supposed to pull back from student ministry. There were times at which I pulled back from different Bible studies because I'm like, I just can't go to this group right now. I can't commit to being in this Bible study. So there's a season for everything, and the discernment for that just comes through prayer and meditation, meaning like you sitting and reflecting on your time and what you feel God is calling you to in this season. Reflecting on the last decade. So here's the biggest thing. Here or not biggest thing. I keep saying that and then keep saying other things. When you look at me, do you see a difference? And that's a scary question because you're gonna make a comment about my hair.
What hair?
In the way that we act, do you see a big difference?
When you say we, what do you mean?
Me versus you guys.
Act in which way?
I don't know.
Like I was like in the last year, I see like a big difference in like you. Like when JT was here, you would say yes to go help in student ministry more often. You'd say yes to do this, and this. This past year, it seems like you focused on more on work and it's focused more on yourself, like, and your relationship, and not more just filling up your schedule. Because you had free time, and I'm like, oh, I'll fill it up. That's where I'm struggling right now. This is like, I didn't have to go to College Station. I had the free time because I didn't have to go hunting. I could have sat down
and rested
and do that, but I don't know, it's just in me is like I can't sit down and do nothing. I just have to keep doing something. So I filled my schedule. And I just need to learn to sometimes just rest and do stuff. Like I could have done my mission trip letters, but no, I just need to fill my time to do something. But
when I look at you guys and I see the way, especially casually, when I look at you guys casually interacting with each other and whatnot, I feel pretty much the exact same way I felt at your age, 10 years removed. And I think there's a stigma of you when you get old, your things are just like everything's just going to fall apart. Your body's going to be sore. But
I already have that happening. What are you talking about?
Well, that's the thing, right? Like I'm telling you, that no fruit and vegetable diet, I'm here at 29 with no backaches, and Daniel's over there having more ankle pains than anyone I've ever known.
Have you seen what Daniel? I would rather have no fruits and vegetables than eat what Daniel eats.
Whatever.
So, no, but the point of what I'm saying is, I feel the same as you guys do.
Unless you eat a watermelon.
And I've taken up an entire decade. I say that to encourage you. It's okay to say no to certain things in certain seasons. Because you actually have so much time. I think a lot of people rush and we feel like we have to hit certain milestones by certain points, and we feel like time is running out because we're going to miss an opportunity. You're never going to miss an opportunity that God has ordained. If God has ordained the moment, you will have that moment. Because God has ordained it. So you're never going to spend more time on something that God doesn't want you to spend time on. If God is calling you to something, you will find that you will gravitate towards that thing more and more because he is leading you to it. That stems from having the priority correct. If your priority is spending time with God and you are convening with the Spirit that lives within you, you are spending time in prayer, you are reading his word, all of that leads you to such closeness with him that when you go throughout your daily day-to-day life, you will then feel inclined to spend more time in students, to spend more time in kids, to spend more time in whatever ministry, whatever pursuit you have. And you will then also feel when it is time to go, when it is time to do a new thing. You can afford the time spent on all the different endeavors. You have so much time. If I am only a third done with life, you guys are only in first quarter. And you guys are only in first quarter and practically
Barely
just
in it.
getting started.
Yeah.
Because the first 18 years of your life is tutorial.
Mm-hmm.
Because you
Is
don't...
there an option to restart the tutorial?
No, sir.
Okay.
Only through Jesus Christ. And the never mind. The born again nature that he talks about is not one of physical. Just go into a whole thing. You are just getting started. I feel like I've spent a whole decade learning, and I'm looking at the rest of my life like, okay, cool. Let's start.
Yeah.
Like the mindset is so different. And I even remember being like 18, 19, 20 and interacting with people in their 30s and being like, oh my gosh, you're like twice as old as I am. They weren't. But it felt like, oh my gosh, you're like double ahead of where I am. And then now I'm here at that so-called double. And now I'm here and I'm like, no, like I actually just now learned the game.
Yeah.
You know? Now I'm starting to get it and I can actually start playing. And that actually gets me really excited for what else I can do. You know, some of your questions focused in on like how much time you have left or like what do you hope to do with that time. It's like so much more.
Figure it out. Because
like now I have my heading. Mm-hmm. Now I have, you know, I am so much more excited for where I'm heading. Because if this is what I've been able to do in 10 years, and I've still got another 50, that's incredible.
Yeah.
The amount of things I'm going to be able to do is humbling.
Mhm.
Because like, yeah, it's just this moment of being so eternally grateful for the opportunity that I have before me.
I have another question, one that does not relate to this topic whatsoever.
Okay.
So, you said that you feel our age whenever you feel our age now
Mhm.
when we were our age.
Uh-huh.
Definitely misquoted that. Our current age. 100%.
Uh-huh.
So, growing up in school, not necessarily you, but did you or anyone you know have female friends?
I'm a little confused at where you're going and how my quote earlier had anything to do with this. Please elaborate for what I'm answering.
So, opposite sex friends,
Okay.
not not dating friends, strictly friends.
Okay.
I feel like it's a relatively newer thing that was started by millennials, but Gen Z has really picked it up and taken it off.
To have platonic relationships?
Correct. Because you don't really hear about anybody else talking about them. Or I could be completely wrong and just miss 18 years of information.
I think it's that one.
I
Okay,
think it's
thanks.
that one.
Okay.
A little bit. So
They've gotten more popular, I feel like.
Well, I guess for me, I'm thinking about it. When I was younger, I never really wanted to hang out with girls because they didn't like anything I liked, or
Or did they not want to hang out with you?
well, I was also scared to go talk to girls too. It wasn't this.
Oh, Daniel.
It wasn't that. I mean, it was like
yeah,
I'd
so
hang
there
out with
wasn't the
guys.
interest. Yeah.
Like, well, like when I got in high school, I started making friends with females and stuff, and they're part of our groups and stuff. And we hang out, but
Mhm.
it's not like we're dating. Like part of the group's dating them or something. But it's like we're
Right.
friends.
So you didn't have that desire to date them either. It was just like, no, we're friends.
Yeah, we like the same stuff. We make fun of each other, and it's just like,
Mhm.
let's go, we'll have
Yeah.
fun. Huh?
Yeah, let's keep going.
If they don't like tractors, I don't talk to them.
Mm.
You have all your you have a lot of fake friends.
Thanks, Daniel. Next week we're finding Dillon friends.
The only thing that's in my mind now is the song she thinks my tractor's sexy. Okay. Platonic relationship. Not a new concept.
But gained in popularity. Correct?
See, I actually almost see like a decline.
Really?
I feel like and actually it might just be a perception based on social media culture. Social media and culture shows that way more people are like just in it to like go sleep with each other. That's what is
I see
perpetuated
that.
by media.
I see that.
As I reflect currently, I think what happens is once you start like living life with people, and you guys, we have had conversations based on about relationships prior, talking through like what are the things that you look for in a partner, and when that person isn't like within your requirements for a partner, then that means like you can then have a platonic friendship and relationship with them. So I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to speak on that. It's interesting. I don't think that it's like more popular within a particular generation. What I think it is that you're seeing. Let me throw this out to you, and you can see if this jives. What I'm seeing is as you guys are now becoming young adults, you're starting your endeavors as young adults. You now have more maturity and you are interacting with more and more people in which all of your friendships are platonic. More of your friendships are platonic. And then therefore, you are seeing that rise in platonic friendships because that's just the season of life that you're in.
Benny just called it single in a very elegant way.
Yes.
Basically, to sum it all up.
Basically, no, you. I think what it is like
at least you didn't call me like Maui did.
What?
At least you didn't call us like Maui did to me.
Yeah. No, that was rough. I think what it is your season of life. You are seeing more platonic relationships because now instead of being in high school and like, because I think in high school you are either trying to flirt with a ton of people, or you're just like doing your thing and you're not gonna worry about people. And when you're in that second group, you basically like you guys just like hang out with the guys, basically, like as a big picture term.
Girls won't talk to me.
So
that's a lie, but okay.
So
you just annoy them.
Wow. So what? They don't talk about Farming Simulator and tractors. That's not my problem.
Yeah. So I think that's what you're seeing is now that you're out of high school, that culture, like that kind of world, is so dumb. Like, yeah. as I reflect on it, it's so dumb. Because now, as young adults, now you're all just young adults. And that equalization of everyone makes it so that you can have more platonic relationships.
Yeah. What does the Bible say about that? Platonic relationships.
So we are to care for our brothers and sisters as they are our brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
So for me, what that means is if I meet somebody, say here at church, we're hanging out, we're at Life Group, okay? We're at Life Group. Somebody new shows up, and a new girl shows up. Find out that she's a Christian. Cool. You are now my sister in Christ. I now care for you as I do any one of my other sisters in Christ.
Yeah.
That's the attitude I should have for everyone. You know, I care for you guys like I do my brothers, as if you would be brothers of mine. I care for the girls in our life group in our church as if they would be sisters. That is the kind of platonic relationship that I think is shown in the early church of people living life together and supporting one another, caring for one another, breaking bread with one another. That's what I see as the drive for platonic relationships. Then I don't know what that was. That was a weird noise. Interesting.
I don't know.
Or is it a bird? It sounds like it could be like a rare bird.
Sounds like a suction cup.
It might be suction. Do you think someone's scaling the building with suction cups? That'd be funny.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Hunter just trying to be funny.
He's like, I'm just window washing.
Watch
Rocky.
the window pane like come out.
Yeah. So that's what I see as the motivation for platonic relationships, is caring for one another as brothers and sisters in Christ. Then, as like what I was saying earlier, if you see somebody demonstrate qualities that which you would like in a wife, then you can start to pursue them and have conversations with them and whatnot to develop a relationship deeper. But let's say it doesn't work out. Let's say you start pursuing somebody with hopes of like, oh yeah, maybe they are demonstrating qualities that I like. Cool. Get to know them more. Okay. Turns out like they're actually a really cool person, but like they're not, I don't see them being my wife. Cool. Like great. Actually. Great. Then I can continue to just care for you as my sister, and then I can keep going and doing what God has called me to do.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
Time for another question.
You have more questions? We're at 2 hours, my dude.
Are we really?
Yeah, we've been going for 2 hours.
Oh,
It's 7 o'clock.
Oh. I thank God, because I only had one more question. It's not even really a question.
What is the question?
Just do it since you have it.
It's more of a statement.
Okay.
Oh, this is when I wrote early Tuesday morning.
Oh no.
There's a reason it was written early Tuesday morning.
So why are the drivers suck?
No. Tuesday mornings driving there is not bad. On the way back though.
Yeah.
What makes us human? This is what I have written down. I don't know where I was going with this.
Okay.
As I'm reading it, it might come to me. But I don't know. Oh, I remember.
Oh my gosh.
So this isn't really a question. It's more of a statement. But what I've written down was, what makes us human? It's our ability to know and process information, not the YouTube video I saw that said we don't know. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I do not remember. I
Okay.
just thinking of something else. But I think where I was going with this is, I saw a YouTube video. It's a philosophical YouTube video, and it's just like, it was something about I think it was something along the lines of comparing human traits to animal traits. And they were only pointing out the similarities. But kind of got a double question here.
Oh gosh.
One, do you think there will ever be a time where we can train a monkey? I'm just saying a monkey, any animal, mostly a monkey, because they're already
Close.
Yeah, they're already close to us. Do you think we'll ever be able to train a monkey
To share the gospel.
not only that, but enable it to believe that there is a God?
I really don't. For me, I don't think they're
No.
wired that way. I don't think.
So the thing is,
Because
you can train them to act like it. You can train them to
we
reflect.
can't make them believe it.
Yeah, you can train them to act like it. You can train them to like respond to certain cues in certain ways. Ultimately, animals don't have souls.
Yeah.
We were created in God's image, therefore having a soul. And that's kind of what separates us. That's why God gave us dominion over animals and plants and whatnot. Like we were, Adam's job was to name and care for all of the animals in existence and all of the trees in the garden and everything. He was sent to take care of that. the reason is because we can comprehend and understand. We can comprehend what it means to have a relationship with Christ. Animals can't.
Yeah.
So I would say no.
You know, it'd be funny if Adam, you know, he just named a dog or something because it's his dog, but he just named it Bob. The animal type is Bob.
Animal type is Bob. you are a Bob.
Going Bob hunting. Bobcat.
There you go. Yeah, but
There's cat. I mean, it's just Bob.
Anyway. You have more questions?
Kind of. It's the second part of the question.
Oh, okay.
What enables us to process the information that we do in order to focus on the gospel? Does that make sense?
So how are we mentally able to comprehend the intricacies of the Lord?
Yeah.
But he kind of just dumped him.
More than just more than
Just reading
animals.
it. Yeah. More than just reading it and
acting on what it said. We actually
yeah.
seek to understand. So
compared to let's compare it to the green eggs and ham in the Bible. How come we don't believe what green eggs and ham says, but we can believe what the Bible says? They're both just books.
So it is the Spirit that guides our understanding of Scripture. Even those that do not have the Holy Spirit, it is a movement by God that guides people and opens. The Bible says that our eyes can have blinders on to as we read Scripture. So sometimes there are people in the world who read Scripture, and it makes no sense to them. That's because we can have blinders. But there's also a time at which God moves within our hearts, moves within our minds, and gives us an understanding of who He is. And so it is purely through God's acts and then therefore the Holy Spirit that guides us to know Him more and more and understand His word.
Yeah.
That connection, the connection that we seek to have with God, and the connection that we seek to have with anything that is filling, we seek to fill a void. That desire to fill the void comes from a missing connection to God. And so we can understand Scripture and we have a spiritual connection because of the connection we had to God in the first place.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Does it make sense? Am I articulating that well enough? Okay.
I think so.
Cool.
That's all the question.
That's all for today.
I'll think of some more.
All right, cool.
If I can get 3, I'm happy.
Yeah, no, I mean, this was good. I like the discussion of reflecting on life and whatnot.
From car show to Bible, we got it all.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Until next week.